Bonsoir French 203 students, welcome to video 4 of chapitre 4, and as you can see we're going to be talking about on va parler de la vie sentimentale. Okay, so we know that sentiment usually has something to do with feelings in English. So we're going to be talking about life, la vie, from the standpoint of feelings or relationships. And the way that we're going to be doing this is avec les verbes réfléchis. Remember the reflexive verbs. However, in this case, moving on to this topic, we aren't just going to be talking about reflexive verbs related to yourself, like je me lave les mains, okay, I'm washing my hands. This time we'll be talking about les verbes réfléchis entre les deux personnes, so between two people. So, André va chez les Toulouse. So remember, chez means at the home of or at the place of. Les Toulouse. Toulouse is actually the name of a city in France, but in this case, because of the article, the plural article les that comes before Toulouse, it means a last name. It's like the Toulouse's house or place. Et André et Rosalie se rencontrent. So what did they do? Okay, they met each other, or they're meeting each other. Pour la première fois depuis des années. So for the first time since many years ago. Okay? Voilà ce qui se passe. So this sentence, I said it in a very deliberate and separated way on purpose. However, if a French native speaker were saying the sentence in a normal conversation, they'd probably say something like, voilà ce qui se passe, instead of ce qui se passe. So what happened there? The se of se passe kind of got joined or fused together with qui to form what sounds like one word. So it's really helpful to know how native speakers might say certain things like that, because I think one of the most important things for understanding a language well is knowing word boundaries. So if you're a beginner or even an intermediate student in French, you might be expecting to hear voilà ce qui se passe. You might expect to hear that in a conversation, but when people are actually speaking, they're not going to be saying it that way. They're going to say voilà ce qui se passe. So at this point in the video, I'm going to give you a chance to pronounce the same sentence. You can say it both ways if you like, the slow way and then the fast way. Voilà ce qui se passe. Or voilà ce qui se passe. And so here is what happens in the rest of this story. Okay, so we'll see a number of reflexive verbs in this story. So the first one is André et Rosalie se regardent. Okay, so what are they doing to each other? They're looking at each other. Regarder is the verb for to look. When you add se in front of it, you're transforming it to a reflexive verb, and it shows that people are doing this to each other. Ils se regardent. Okay, so ils se parlent pendant des heures. So they talk to each other. Pendant means during, so ils se parlent pendant des heures. They speak for many hours. We wouldn't use during in the same sentence in English, I think, but in French it is used here. Okay, ils s'embrassent. I think you can gather from the picture what happens there. They kiss each other. C'est le coup de foudre, and I think it's important to break down this expression. It means love at first sight, but it's kind of helpful to know what the individual words mean. Okay, coup means a hit, and you might have heard this in expressions like a coup in English, a political coup. It's basically the same meaning. A coup d'état is like a hit to the state, a hit to the government. Coup de foudre, foudre means lightning, so it's like a hit of lightning, and so you can imagine the association with love at first sight. And finally, at the end, ils se quittent vers 7 heures. So quitte is kind of like quit, so they quit each other, they leave each other around 7 o'clock, vers 7 heures. Okay, so lots of different ways that these two people are interacting with each other, right? Okay, we'll move on and see what happens in the grande histoire d'André et Rosalie, in the great love story of André et Rosalie. All right, so pendant les semaines qui suivent, André et Rosalie passent beaucoup de temps ensemble. Ils se souviennent de leur jeunesse ensemble. C'est le grand amour. So apparently they knew each other in the past, and they're rekindling this great love they had for each other. So pendant les semaines qui suivent, so during the weeks that follow, and the following weeks, André et Rosalie passent beaucoup de temps ensemble. They spend a lot of time together. Ils se souviennent. So souvenir is like a memory. So se souvenir is to remember, and in this case I think they're reminding each other. Ils se souviennent de leur jeunesse. And you see the F here reminds you that jeunesse is feminine. Generally, any noun that ends in ESSE is a feminine noun. De leur jeunesse ensemble. Okay, so it's this great love. So, ils se retrouvent en ville chaque après-midi. So they meet each other, they find each other in town every afternoon. Et quelquefois, ils se disputent. So you can probably guess what disputer means here. Se disputer, so it's to argue. Okay, they're arguing together. They're both having a fight here. And then finally, mais la plupart du temps, ils s'entendent bien. Okay, the majority of the time, la plupart, the majority, du temps, ils s'entendent bien. So entendre is kind of like to, basically it's to get along with each other. S'entendre, they get along well. Et enfin, André et Rosalie prennent une décision. Okay, this would literally translate to they take a decision. And sometimes you will hear when people are learning English, speakers of other languages, when they learn English, they might use that word mistakenly. They'll say, André et Rosalie are taking a decision. In English, we would use make, right? But that wouldn't sound correct in French. We can't like faire une décision. So, ils prennent une décision. Ils vont se marier et vont s'installer à Rouen. Ils vont être très heureux. Okay, so I'll give you one more chance to answer a question in this video based on what you have learned about reflexive verbs, what you can guess by looking at the meanings of these verbs like se marier, s'installer. What do you think happened to André et Rosalie? What did they decide to do at the end of the story? How are they going to feel? So you can answer that question at the end of this video. Okay, and that's really everything for La Vie Sentimentale. The reflexive verbs are very useful to be able to describe relationships between people. So I hope that will be a good explanation and introduction to that topic. Okay, I will see you all next time. Bonne nuit.